Hi, I'm Sarah with the University of Oregon Speech, Language, and Hearing Center, and today we're talking about resonance. Resonance refers to how sound passes through a space. For example, when a person sings in a cavernous cathedral, their voice echoes throughout the building, bouncing off the walls and high ceilings. When a person sings in a soundproofed box, however, their voice doesn't echo, and it sounds dampened. Within voice, resonance refers to how the sound from the vocal folds passes through the vocal tract. A popular example of differing resonance can be heard in the characters SpongeBob and Patrick. Patrick's resonance has a darker, more full quality, whereas SpongeBob's resonance is a little bit more nasal and has a tinny kind of sound to it. You can manipulate your own resonance by imitating these characters. Notice how different your voice feels when trying to imitate these different resonances. That is because you are changing the shape and size of your vocal tract to try the different voices. One of the primary components of voice training is resonance. The resonance of your voice significantly impacts the way it is perceived. So what parts of the vocal anatomy create resonance? We have the vocal tract, which we can define the vocal tract as the space from the vocal folds, which live in your throat, all the way up to your lips. Cis men tend to have vocal tracts that are 10 to 20% longer than cis women's. This is important because when we think about gender differences in vocal perception, a big component of it boils down to anatomical differences in the vocal tract. So when pursuing voice training, you are essentially training your muscles to look like the vocal tracts of the gender that you are trying to reflect. So folks who are seeking a more feminine voice are manipulating the vocal tract to be shorter, whereas folks seeking a more masculine voice are manipulating the vocal tract to be longer. The next important component in resonance are the resonant cavities. There are 3 different spaces in your head that inform the resonance of your voice. The first and most obvious is your mouth, the technical space being oral cavity. The other spaces are the nasal cavity and the pharyngeal cavity. You could probably take a guess that the nasal cavity is in your nose, but the pharyngeal cavity might be a bit more complicated to understand. Here's a picture to try and explain it better. In simpler terms, the pharyngeal cavity is essentially the space at the back of the throat. You can feel this space be manipulated when you yawn or when you fake a yawn. There are different perceptions of resonance. So darker resonance is when lower frequencies are amplified, which gives the voice a fuller, richer quality. This is often associated with a deeper sound. This is the resonance used for the Patrick voice. Try practicing the Patrick voice and placing a hand on your chest. You should be able to feel vibrations or buzzing in your chest. Voices that are perceived as masculine align with a more dark, resonant quality. On the other hand, we have lighter resonance, in which higher frequencies resonate in the nasal passages and sinuses, which results in a brighter, lighter sound. This is the resonance used for the SpongeBob voice. If you're practicing the SpongeBob voice, you should be able to feel light resonance by placing your fingers on your cheekbones. It should feel more forward in the face compared to dark resonance, which feels farther back in the throat. Voices that are perceived more as feminine align with a lighter resonant quality. Here are some vocal exercises to try for feeling different resonances. So you can play around with different vowel sounds, and practicing singing on different vowels can be helpful to notice how resonance changes. For instance, ah can enhance a darker resonant quality because the tongue is farther back to create the ah vowel, which elongates the vocal tract. E, on the other hand, produces a lighter, more forward resonance due to the tongue being more forward and high in the mouth, which minimizes the shape of the vocal tract. Another exercise to try is humming. Humming helps you feel vibrations in your face and promotes resonance of awareness as well. And humming is kind of like singing on an M sound. Because M is a nasal consonant, it promotes a more forward and light resonance, which you should feel in your cheekbones. In summary, resonance is one of the primary factors of how gender is perceived in voice. Individuals with a more light resonance tend to be perceived more as feminine, whereas those with a more dark resonance tend to be perceived more as masculine.
You demonstrated Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't demonstrate SpongeBob.
I think it was more subtle. I was trying to I was trying to do it. Yeah, no. Not in the laugh, I can't. If you're practicing the SpongeBob voice, you should be able to feel light resonance by placing your fingers on your cheekbones. It's more forward.
Or is that Squidward?
I'm trying to make it a little more nasally.
Okay.
But I think
But if you want to go for something more like
Yeah,
SpongeBob,
you
a
see,
little
you
bit more
got
up
it.
there.
I can't do